Still think you're getting fired?
Yeah.
Where you at?
Well, I just went through the whole playbook grind. Followed Quacks around for a while, and then decided to go my own route. So I feel good that that's locked up, and it's interesting to see all the different playbooks. So yeah, pretty good. I'm feeling great.
Oh, everyone likes the Party in the USA song that was playing. That's my favorite song. But it will always be my favorite song. Everyone at work knows that's my favorite song. I get a lot of judgment for it being my favorite song, but it is my favorite song. So, Bracken, how you doing, sir? How are the Ducks treating you?
Very well. I'm good.
Good,
Ducks are a
JMO?
lot of fun to use.
Yeah, oh yeah. JMO, what about you, sir? What's a good word?
But I'm excited. Been playing around, and unfortunately, my new coach challenge is to make the playoffs. So I'm excited to get on the carousel like a little kid and have some fun.
And Zeth, how we doing, sir? You haven't got to play too much. We played yesterday a little bit, but how we feeling?
Oh man, dude, it's pretty dope. I played that one game. I haven't played a lot because I've been traveling, but I did recruiting just now, and things are looking good for me. So I'm
Oh,
pretty stoked to be honest, and I'm ready to fucking play.
a couple insta commits out there for Clemson, Oregon, Notre Dame grabbed one. Somebody else grabbed one. Maybe Alabama.
Michigan was the first.
Michigan grabbed one. It's good to see that, and it's good to see that like even the insta commit 4 stars aren't that great too. So like it's going to be interesting. What's the first thing we can talk about? What's really going to come into play for which compared to last cycle, which it did not matter at all. The dev trade for these players matters so much when you hit that training progression or that training result stage. If you look at the guys who have the star dev or the even impact, obviously elite, those guys jump up so high compared to the normal dev players. The normal dev players, they got all the caps everywhere. They can only get so high, and then these other guys just take off. So there definitely is. I think there's a coaching ability where you can unlock the ability to see players dev trait too when you're recruiting them. I think it's pretty high up, but that's a huge advantage too down the road if you're able to get that because then you can just normal guys. You can just throw normal guys off your board if you don't want them. So because it will be pretty tough to with some of these starting recruits overall. Is you need them to progress, or they will just be shit sitting on your bench. So shout out to everybody in the chat. We got what NWS, Rob's in there, Brap is in there, Nairi, Boone's in there. Yeah, we got pre-order bonuses off, my brother. We aren't rolling with the extra 100 points to start. Big Smitty said he got an insta commit. I don't know if I believe that. Um, Boone got one at Western Kentucky? No.
1 star.
Yeah.
He said he was nice. I'm not seeing him, Boone.
Interesting.
Oh, he did. A 3 star.
Where are you at?
A quarterback.
Dang.
Oh, it's a sick name too. KJ Fox, dual threat quarterback from Memphis. Okay. I like it. Boone must have known something we don't know. Well, cool. Yeah. So we kind of want to get into it just because we've had a couple of meetings with the staff, and then obviously the committee members that we added, which I think for myself that has been a huge addition to our like pre-cycle conversations. Just bringing in the JMO's thoughts, Busy's thoughts, Van, and then obviously John Baugh. Just a good sounding board to bounce ideas off of. Are you guys for this? Are you against this? What do you think about this? Like it's been a good addition, and people have voiced concerns. People have posted things. Hey, I think this could be a glitch. This could affect us. But so that was a huge addition
Oh
that I kind of
shit.
like. What?
Boone's guy. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut
Oh
you
yeah,
off.
no, Boone's guy's good. ND with more instas this cycle already. Drew didn't get any instas last cycle. Well, Drew just went for all the 5 stars last cycle. He would just have a board of 25 5 stars, and 15 of them would end up at his school. Um, well, that's the I think that's the biggest addition that we're going to see on a recruiting from a recruiting standpoint this cycle compared to last cycle. I think just that we've talked about it before, but the not being able to just reset and use all your points again right after the guys commit in week 3 and week 4 and week 5. Like I used to be able to take, I'd have all 1,000 points available heading into week 6. And I would just restart and go steal the 4 stars from San Diego State and whoever else, Boise and whoever else is out west. But now, like, you're going to be in some recruiting battles through week 8, week 9, where you're going to have to keep 50 points on those guys, which, hopefully that lets some of the smaller schools go out and grab some players. But, you never know. I think it's going to be interesting to see. But that's my favorite on paper, which obviously we haven't seen it with 32 users live yet, but that's on paper. The coolest thing is that visits aren't the end all be all, because it was just a race to who got the best visit. Week 3 or week 2, if you were able to land that visit, the guy and you won, that guy was your player. So it'll be cool to see. You might have to be strategic with your visits. Maybe you try to go week 8 with your visit, hoping there's a recruiting battle and you get them that week. Like, it's going to be very interesting and some strategy into it. But I think that's a cool little move. So,
I think I'm gonna sit on the portal, but there's just no way. There's no.
The portal is just like in real life, but the portal is going to be super important for that middle tier of schools. I feel like you're going to lose so many players that if you can bring back 3 or 4 guys that you can insert right in your starting lineup, even as juniors or whatever they are, I think that is going to be huge. So the portal, I think everybody this year will get to benefit from the portal rather than just like 10 users like last year. Even if it's adding, a 3-star, like a 3-star in the portal is significantly better than a 3-star, recruit. Like the 3-star portal guy has already got 2 or 3 years of training results, and he'll at least be 90 speed. So that's nice to see some guys that don't trip over themselves when they run a 40. But let's go over our settings first, because obviously everyone can go in and look at the settings. But we'll talk about it. So first off, we'll go XP to start. Let me go ahead and flip to my stream here. All right, so we're sticking the same XP sliders on offense. So quarterbacks, halfbacks, wide receivers are all down to 70, which is what we were at last cycle. Still got to see, guys get up, some guys with the decent players, decent starting points got up in the 90s. But I had a lot of 5-stars that only capped out at like 88, 89, which is good. It also keeps players in your program longer, which is cool. Like when they don't get to be 95 overall, they leave right away. So you get guys a couple more years rather than leaving as, just redshirt sophomores or juniors. So, so this all stayed the exact same. Offensive line we cranked up just because O-line needs all the help they can get, because we want O-line to matter. It's been our goal since like Madden 16. The spots that changed last year, defense, everyone was kind of at like 85. Obviously, edge defenders is a new position, separating out outside linebackers, not just being outside linebackers. So edge defenders goes to 75 from defensive ends are at 80. Defensive tackles are at 80. They're down to 75. Middle linebackers are at 85 down to 80. Outside linebackers down to 80. Corners and safeties were both at like 83, I believe, are now down to 80. And then obviously kickers and punters are staying the same. I think in our tests with these sliders, people still get a shit ton of chips, and the auto progression was still cranking them. Guys were getting +3 speed, +6 excel, good throw power, obviously the big awareness boost. So, like XP, I don't think will be a problem. And I just, we want to avoid, when we sim last night bracket, Oregon jumped to a 99 overall after the training results and after the portal. And that was without
96 overall, 99
Yeah.
defense.
That was without bringing in a single recruit the first season. We had recruiting on, manual, but we were just simming through it. So his roster, he didn't bring in a single new recruit, and his roster just skyrocketed up to 96 overall. And Guax did too, and Zeth said his was pretty high. So one of my users is saying we should wait to start. We're at 32 users ready to go. What's your opinion on upcoming patch? The upcoming patch, Kareem, my guess is it's not till August. It'll probably be early August. That's when they did it last year. And then one of the teams did leak, one of the college football teams leaked that their new jerseys would be in the August update, which is why I think like that would be the next logical time that they do an update. I don't think there's anything game breaking that should hold you back from starting. The only thing that position changes is the only problem right now where if you change a guy's position, it throws a bunch more caps on him and he kind of just like, can't really dev anymore. So I would just avoid allowing people to change positions. But I think most leagues can probably start now, and before you even get to that first off season, they'll have that fixed, hopefully. So I don't think there's anything holding anyone back from starting right now. We like to start and get going, but that's yeah. I just told him that. Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I know you've been in our server for a while. I think you're a PlayStation user, but yeah, you're more than welcome, brother. If you want to hop on the wait list, feel free. We'll take everybody you can get. I'll boot some of these guys that haven't joined yet and get you in there. So yeah, that's XP. Like I said, I don't think we'll have a single problem with XP. I think it prevents guys from getting way too good. Which there, a couple people in the committee voiced concerns with the shitty or the shittier recruits now. Recruits starting lower, is our XP going to prevent that from them getting good and playable? I don't think that'll be the case. Again, we're going to use this first season as kind of like our major test with 32 users, and make necessary adjustments heading into that first off season of what we want to change or switch up. Kind of like we did last year, where we adjusted the gameplay sliders and stuff like that for the computer teams. So we'll see what we come up with. But so that's XP, pretty straightforward. Everything kind of stays the same, lowered a couple things. Gameplay sliders, we're going to keep everything stock for user and computer. I can see us bumping, pass defense reaction time up in the future. I bet you we bump up pass coverage. I bet you we bump up tackling if they don't fix the stiff arm issue. I think we'll end up dropping the computer's quarterback accuracy down to like 35, 40. And I bet you we drop our quarterback accuracy down a little bit as well. So it'll probably be similar to last cycle. The only change for season 1 is punt power. Punt power. I read. I follow a couple people online, and the one guy was saying that if you bump punt power up, it gives people more of a chance at returns. Because in real life, people are returning the punts almost every time, and in ours, with our punters hitting the ball, kicking the ball only 40 yards or whatever, you're pretty much fair catching almost every time. So this will be a chance to create more returns or to flip the field. If you're trying, you get stuck deep in your own zone, at least you can get a decent punt and try to play the field position game. So if you aren't one of the more aggressive users that wants to go for it all the time on fourth down, you can use this pump power to your advantage and try to pin them deep down there. So I think that's going to be a nice little adjustment. Again, we might bump it more. We'll have to see how it goes. But for now, everything's going stock except for that. And then when we get down to all the other stuff, injuries, we dropped 5 points because so far before the patch, injuries have been kind of crazy. We want injuries. We don't want 15 a game. So we did drop it 5 to start. That might be one we adjust mid-season too, if it's looking pretty bad. But the injury slider most of the time just changes the length of the injury instead of the actual injuries happening. So I hope now we'll see, instead we might see, 8 guys get hurt, but it should just be the quick one where they bounce back in the game or they're only out for the rest of the game and they're fine for the following week. So we'll see with that. Fatigue we kept 50. Minimum speed threshold we bumped to 55. So that's just it brings the faster players a little bit closer to the slower players. We've done this since Madden 18, I think, where we've adjusted speed threshold. If you played in other leagues, like we had streak issues in our league, but if you go watch the leagues that can hot route to streaks, like if you had a 99 speed receiver and how popular the 99 speed receivers were last cycle, you could hot route to a streak anytime, and even against off coverage, you lob it at the right time and they're beating the guy downfield. So speed threshold at 55 to start. Hopefully, the speed not enough to make it where fast guys won't matter, but just enough to bring it a little bit closer. This is the same slider we had for last cycle too, so it didn't make a huge difference last cycle. I don't anticipate it being a huge change this cycle either. If you played with fast players, the fast players are fast, man. Like they cut up field and just go. Like they take off and you just see, like, especially the guys with high excel, playing games as UCF and then playing online as Oregon, just seeing the difference in like how the Ducks turn up field and go compared to the UCF players, it is pretty crazy. So the fast guys are still going to be fast. It's just going to be harder to find those fast guys early on in their careers. This is all new, the precipitation stuff. So we're gonna leave that at 50 for now. I think that's probably how it was designed, but just like how things are affected by the rain. So we're just gonna leave it stock. If we want to see, more shit happening in rain and snow games, maybe we change some of this. But for now, I think 50 is gonna be good. I played a couple games in the snow. Guys definitely slip running routes, and when running backs are just carrying the football. Like you try to cut, and sometimes they don't cut like they're supposed to. So. Um, that's the other change. So we're not touching that because it's brand new. We're just going to leave that, and that's a hard one to test really. So, and then we didn't change anything in here. The only one that we had off last time was roughing the kicker running into the kicker because it was broken last game where you could just take a kicker out. Or no, the computer was doing it too much, and it was
Yep.
every time you were kicking or punting, it was getting a roughing penalty. So we're going to keep those on until we have to turn them off. So that is that. Any questions in the chat or in here on any of those that I just went over? I feel like I'm doing like an onboard
Make
for a new employee. Go ahead.
make Busy pay for running into the kicker again. That's what I say.
Yep. Oh yeah. He's petty. He likes to do that. We'll go league settings. This is kind of where it gets interesting. Obviously, we're in Heisman mode. We always will be. Injuries obviously on manual progression. So this is a big one. In the beta, you had the ability to. There was a toggle for manual progression on and off. Then when the game came out, they got rid of the toggle, so there is no on and off. There is an auto recruiting one down here, way down here. Auto progress players, not recruiting. Sorry, I keep saying that. Auto progress players. So we're gonna keep this is based off of each user settings. So if you want manual progression, you want to use manual progression, you can go in there and flip yours to off. I'm warning against that because of this slider up here. We are cranking the manual progression XP penalty to 100%. So in the Sims and stuff we've tested, if this slider is on like 25%, guys are still getting like 40, top guys are getting like 40, 45 chips a season. When we crank it to 100 and you want to manually progress, your guys are only getting 1 or 2 chips. So us putting this at 100 pretty much forces everyone to go in auto progression, which is kind of our goal. Last cycle is cool. The randomness is fun. So if you want to, and here's the other kicker is you will have to be online when we advance to training results. And we're only sitting at training results for like 10 minutes. So if you're not on for those exact 10 minutes it happens, you don't get a chance to manual progression players anyways. So it's not majority of the time you won't even have the ability to go in and do it. And I'm just going to say again, with our settings and slider set at 100, you do not want to use manual progression. So if you want to or you didn't listen, go ahead. But you will not want to go ahead and do your tests. And when you get to that training results page, instead of clicking training results and you go in and see your roster with all the pluses on everybody, it'll just show your roster and you can go in and then you have to click the players and manually progress them, but you'll see the chips are going to be super low. They'll only have, I don't think we saw a guy with over 4 chips when we went to 100%. So going to be very.
We had offensive linemen that were in their second and third year that were being capped because their lowest thing they could buy was like 14. So
Yep.
Alex had, and I had a dude that had like 7, but that was one dude, and he still couldn't get anything.
So we said all of that really just to say things are going to be the exact same this cycle. Like it's going to be auto progression. If auto progression is going to be on, basically, I would recommend everyone keep it on, or else you are in for it. So so all that is going to stay the same. Still sticking with the 10-play cooldown, 2-play call limit per game, 7 minutes, accelerated clock down to 20, which this one's been talked about a little bit just because with so many chances to make adjustments on defense, if you're sitting there waiting for the guy to make adjustments, your play clock's going to tick down pretty low. We're going to start it at 20 and we'll see how it goes. You're going to have to get good at you're making your shifts and you're changing your safety, route committing, playing underneath, whatever you want to do. You got to get quick at that and know what buttons you need to click. Because a lot of those ones, it's different if the line is sliding or the linebackers are shifting or something like that. Then the guy's waiting for you. If you're just sitting there trying to get to a route commit, it looks like you're ready to go, so that ball is going to get snapped. So you got to be quick to get those in. We posted a little bit about this one early on, and we can talk about all this afterwards, guys. I'm just going to try to get through it. But normal tackle impact, we dropped from 50 to 45, and catch tackle impact, we dropped from 40 to 50, or 50 to 45. We bumped up hit stick 5, we bumped up cut stick 5. So if you get a hit stick on a guy or on a cut stick on a player, that's going to hurt them more in the wear and tear situation compared to a normal tackle. So you'll be rewarded for your hit sticks, but at the same time, if you miss a hit stick, like obviously that lets the guy continue upfield. So we're going to look at some of these ones too. Sack impact, block impact. If we see only the guys that are getting hit are the ones that are suffering wear and tear, we might adjust some of these other ones for offense lineman, defense alignment, just to kind of get everyone on the same page. Or even like block impact. Like if a corner is getting blocked, we want that corner to, if he's getting blocked by a left tackle or a pulling guard, we want him to suffer some wear and tear too. Because if you got 350 running at you and you're a 170-pound corner, you're going to be pretty worn and torn after that guy's done with you. That sounded, we'll just say pause on that one. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at there. Recovery, which is really cool because this is something that will allow us to counter wear and tear how we want to. So like for right now, everything's default except between quarter recovery, we have it at 53. So guys will get a little more energy back. Their wear and tear will, in between quarters, they'll get a little bit better because they get to take a little break. And then same thing with halftime. We bumped it a little bit more. So guys should come out of halftime kind of fresh or more fresh than a stock player. If we notice later in guys' careers or even week to week, the wear and tear is just too much, we might bump these down. But I like the idea of wear and tear mattering because I like the idea. If we have an 85-man roster, I would like us to have to use, some backups here and there, or be smart about, how you're using your auto subs, how you're using formation subs. Maybe you have to get a guy out of there on passing plays. You put in your backup running back, or on running plays, you put in backup receivers just to keep your guys fresh. So I think we'll see more. We'll see more of that, I think, which will be cool. They also changed in the beta. They had max transfers per team. They had a one for users and one for computers. They got rid of that, so now it's just max transfers per team. So we put it at 22. So I kind of jumped in the middle of that 22 or 20 and 25. So for now, you won't lose 25 players, but you can lose up to 22 players, which will be very interesting to see which 22 go. Is it your 22 best? Is it your 20? Whatever it is. And then obviously to try to help the CPU out a little bit, which you can argue it might hurt our portal, but with 2,000 players entering the portal, I think we're going to be more than fine dropping the CPUs to 50 or to 45 and keeping the user players at 50. So, like I said, auto recruiting, that's up to you guys. User coach auto progression. We want that on off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is that on? I don't know. And then obviously we have ball hawk, heat seeker, and switch assist are off. That's been off since like Madden 18 as soon as that came into the game. So those are just ones that help, take it off the user and kind of help assist you in different things. So we're gonna take those off again. Any questions in chat on any of those? I never knew it was a thing last cycle, said Rob. Rob, what are you talking about?
Recruiting.
Oh.
Stop it.
It's going to be interesting. The other thing, kind of, I want to talk a little bit, and this will help you guys jump in too. But I want to talk a little bit about the post I made a couple of days ago, just kind of trying to set expectations for people about kind of what to expect with this game is a lot different, and depending on the program you're starting at, you have to manage your current roster as well as incoming recruits, or else you will lose all your players. If you're a top team, you might want to stay away from the guys who favor playing time, because if you can't offer playing time, and they're pretty stingy about playing time. Like if you don't play a guy at all his freshman year, some of these guys are gone, and it only gets worse as they get better and higher overalls. Where these elite rosters aren't going to be able to hoard the talent like you could last year. 5 stars are not going to stick around and sit on your bench and wait for an opportunity, and they're not because they're playing time. And I know a lot of you know this. I just want to say, I know there's some people that don't, which I don't want to say it, but like a guy might start out with a B as his playing time grade, But as soon as he hits like 85 overall, that B jumps to an A minus. And then, he gets to be a junior and he wants to start and you're not playing him. It might be an A plus and he might have to play. And if he's not playing, he is gone. So you have those dynamic deal breakers are, and that goes for everything. Everything's always going to change. Brand exposure, as a guy gets better and brand exposure is the main thing, if all of a sudden your school's brand exposure can't reach that, like his A or A plus, that guy's leaving. Even if he's winning Heisman trophies, winning national championships, if you're not meeting his NIL that he wants to get or his championship contender grade, that guy is leaving. So again, as a small school or a mediocre school, if you're not one of these top 10 to 15 schools, you need to be looking at the deal breakers, and it might not hurt you season 1, season 2, but once those guys finally dev into players you want to play, it might be too late and they might already be gone. Because I can tell you, like, my pro potential at UCF doesn't really go past a B. So if I recruit and I get lucky with a 5-star who cares about pro potential, all of a sudden, that guy, by the time he's supposed to be a dog and be my main guy, he is going to end up, at Florida or Florida State or Miami because their grades are higher. So if you're a small school, you really just have to keep winning to try to bump those grades as high as you can. But there are going to be players that you physically just cannot do anything to keep unless, if it's playing time or something like that and you just put them on the field. But then the chances of you then pissing off another player at that same position who's also playing time is greater too. So roster management is kind of the name of the game this cycle, and really looking, you can go sort by the recruits that are interested in going to you, and they might be interested now, but are they going to be interested in 2 seasons? Are they going to be there for when they're supposed to be your big time player? Which I would argue that that's going to be more important than anything. You guys can chime in here with your thoughts on that.
No, I think you're exactly right. I think it's something that you have to take better care of this year and be prepared to lose people. It doesn't matter who you are, what school you're at, you're gonna lose people.
It's gonna suck. Like, it is gonna suck. Like, but if it's realistic. Like, real life, I used the Jordan Addison example. He was a stud receiver at Pitt, and he won the Biletnikoff. He won wide receiver of the year at Pitt, had a humongous year, set records at Pitt. And then all of a sudden, his senior year, Pitt ended up finishing like 15 in the country or whatever when they had, I think it was Kenny Pickett's year when they had a good team. And then Jordan Addison's like, see, I'm going to the portal, because his primary thing was making more money, NIL, brand exposure. And he went to USC. And like, you're going to see a lot of that. So if you're a guy who doesn't want to deal with that, then you need to get to an elite school. You need to get to a school that has good grades. If it's something that's going to frustrate you and make you mad, bitching about it's not going to help. It's your own fault for recruiting that player. You need to then change your situation. You need to get your coach to a better program and do your best. And then same thing, if you're a guy who doesn't want to navigate playtime over and over again for all these 5-stars and 4-star prospects coming in, then you might be better off at a smaller school or a mid-tier school. So you really have to temper your expectations and realize where your starting point is. Like, if Ilio goes out and gets a 5-star at Delaware, I can almost guarantee you, unless that guy's
it'll corrupt the file.
Yeah, unless his deal breaker is proximity to home, I can guarantee you Ilio never gets to play with that player outside of his freshman year. Even if he just lights it up, it's going to get gross. It's going to be very frustrating at times, but it is just like real life where you have guys who are starters for you at small schools, at mid-level schools, and they are just out. And where last cycle, we saw a bunch of guys build up their rosters, the at San Diego States, the Memphis, the Air Forces, Colorado State with Quacks. And they're, once they recruited and got those players were theirs the rest of the time. They got them for 4 years. They got them for 4 off-season trainings, and those players were studs. That is not going to be the case this cycle. And if you're not prepared for it at a small school or a mid-tier school, you probably need to try to get to a new school, because it is going to be really tough being those mid-tier schools. You'll have your roster will look different every single year because you're going to have 20 guys out every year. So, Van, that's what you were kind of looking at, right?
Yep. I'm leaving right away.
Well, one thing I noticed too is playtime. Like, it might not be their deal breaker, but if you have a star that's a backup,
Yep.
like the season ends and surprise, He's now
Yeah.
he's now playing time. He don't want to stay anymore because you
Yeah.
didn't play him.
They
So like if you have a dog and you play him as a backup, even if it looks like he might not care,
Yep, he
the season
cares.
ends and then surprise, he does.
4 and 5 stars especially, which again in real life, like, and I'm going to say busy, but myself as well. I could have 4 or 5 star quarterbacks on my roster. So then when one guy graduated, I already had the next guy who was already up to an 85 and good and had all the right abilities, and I was like, okay, cool, no big deal. But now, like, and sure, some guys are going to stick around, but you will not be able to hoard the talent you want, and that, like, it's going to get very interesting how some of these rosters change year to year, where you might win a national championship, and if your NIL or brand exposure goes down, you are cooked. So, and they did say, yeah, playtime matters for more than the people who just have playtime as a deal breaker. So, pay a lot of attention to that. Rob, if you go to recruiting, um, your recruiting board, and you go over to
My
my
team.
my school, it'll show you like all your grades being like UCF, all these nice C's and stuff. Beautiful.
Yeah, let's see that board.
Yeah, I'm not bored. You don't want anyone on my board. I promise you that. It's
Yeah, not
slim
saying anything.
pickings, slim pickings over here. And anybody I was high up on, it's exactly what JMO said. The three people ahead of me are Florida State, Miami, and Florida. So pretty much just take those players off. I'm recruiting a lot of guys from fucking Hawaii and Michigan and other shit, which is very interesting. Um, but yeah, so yeah, just I want people to know what you're getting yourself into. You might have thrived at your small school last year and built your roster up, and you're like, oh, I'm ready to compete. It might not be I don't want to say it might not be possible, but it's going to be much more difficult this year to do so. But that's where the portal comes in, because the portal is kind of like the great equalizer. The good teams are going to lose players, the bad teams are going to lose more players, but there's going to be good players that want to go to smaller schools, and you'll be able to go in and snag some up, and all of a sudden you add like an 85 to your roster or something, and like, you're bummed you lost your 4 star recruit, but you just brought in a sick player from the portal. So like, it hurts someone like me who really likes recruiting my own players and building up over the course of like 4 seasons with that same player. But that, you gotta go for certain players. Proximity to home is a safe one if you're a small school. That's never going to change. So go find the guy who wants to play at home, which again, very realistic. If you go look at a lot of these real rosters, like the smaller school or mid-tier levels rosters, they're built up from people from their pipelines or states around where they're from, because that's where guys like to go to school for the most part. So um, Drew, that's one of my biggest wishes. If pipelines were dynamic, that would have been the coolest addition. And I think we'll get it in the future because it was a thing in NCAA 14. If you recruited, I think, like 10 players from the same state, that became a pipeline for you, which is so awesome. But they did not add it for this game yet. So I am holding my breath for maybe next game, but we will see. That'd be a really cool addition. Just being able to either enhance your pipelines or develop new pipelines, or like, if all of a sudden you're grabbing a bunch of people from Wisconsin, all of a sudden you develop a Wisconsin pipeline and guys are more likely to go there. So that would be really cool. Um, but yeah, I want to kind of set the scene for everybody that it's going to be a lot more difficult this cycle from a roster management standpoint. And I just don't want to get 3 seasons in and people are like, what the fuck, dude? My guy's transferring. This guy's leaving. Like, players who do well and are starters for you will transfer, and it will suck. But, you get, just look at it as a new opportunity to head to the portal, just like real life. Your favorite school, Oregon this year in real life, their 3 best players in this game are all transfers they got from the portal. And like, that's just it's how it is nowadays, and that's what people wanted. They wanted realism, and now we're getting it. So JMO, I'm going to say it again because JMO said it best. This year is more about your coach's journey. You are the coach of the program that you're at, and you are doing what is best for the school, not for what is best for like your fun, I guess you could say. Like, I like to develop a player, win a bunch of awards, be that kind of thing. I might not get the opportunity. I could win 2 Heisman's with a player, then he ends up at Miami anyway. So it is what it is. It's going to be very difficult to manage rosters, and I just wanted really, like, I know there's people who don't care as much as some of us do, or don't look into things as much as some of us do. Um, but I just want to make sure everybody understands what is about to happen. Because if you haven't ran any test franchises, might be a good time to go look at who leaves your program after season one. So,
Yeah.
and a lot of it,
I
when
hope.
you
I hope I don't run.
when you try to persuade them, all the persuasions are low or like extremely low too. Like you are just hoping one of them stays at that point. So,
It's
um,
awful.
yeah, dude, I went 12-0, won the national championship. All my players left, and then in the sim we did last night, my team went like 4-8. Um, obviously didn't make the playoff, didn't win the national championship, and more guys stayed. So maybe I got to tank this first season. I don't know. Like it's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. Um, but it's a completely different ball game from last game. It's going to be pretty tough, especially like you could get by last year at a smaller school recruiting three stars because the three stars came in with like 95 speed a lot of times, or like playable speed, let's just say 90 speed, 91 speed, where you could still compete with a lot of the big schools. If you were at the San Diego State Air Forces, you could put together a roster of three stars, let them develop for 2 years, and then they were good enough to play with those big schools. The way recruits are starting this time, the three stars are so bad. And
It's
again,
it's
like
so
I want to temper expectations. If you haven't looked at recruits, you are going to be seeing a lot of 84 speed running backs, 86 speed wide receivers, like 87 speed corners that you're going to laugh. And you're going to be like, if I get stuck playing Oregon at some point, I'm going to get dog walked up and down the field. Like I played Zach last night at UCF and he was Notre Dame and his tight end was outrunning all of my corners, doing whatever he wanted, making moves upfield. So it's a very different ball game. And if you're at a small school, you got to understand like you might not be able to compete against some of these big schools. Where last cycle, we got to see Memphis. You got to jump up conferences because it made sense because you were winning and your roster gets to be a 90 overall. That won't be the case unless if you strike gold in the portal. That's your only hope to bump that roster up big time. So um, I'm not trying to scare people or like put these like all this shitty stuff's going to happen, but it is just the reality of the game we're playing now. And I do think it'll be a lot of fun. I just want everybody to be prepared for it. So,
Yeah. Yep.
and like what Nairi just said, yeah, like we every recruit, even a 3-star, was playable. You could put them right into your starting lineup, which in real life, maybe out of the 136 teams or whatever there are, maybe 15 players play as true freshmen, maybe a couple more, but like get like serious playtime as starters. Um, And last year, if you looked at anybody's roster, people were playing freshmen, whether it's, the Air Forces or the Oregons. Like you could find guys that were good enough. They had purple abilities. They had whatever, house call, and you could put them right in your starting lineup and feel good about it for 4 seasons. That will not be the case this cycle. You will be, if you recruit a 3-star with 84 speed, he's going to need 3 off seasons of training before he is good enough to play. And you're just hoping he's still on your roster by the time he hits that bump.
sounds
Well,
fun.
I mean, Quacks made a really good point. At 18 years old,
Yeah,
in comparison to everybody else, an 18-year-old shouldn't be 98 speed.
no,
He's not going to be faster than a 23-year-old
no. And there's a
or a
reason.
22-year-old
There's a
that's
re-
been working as
yeah.
a semi-professional for the last 3 years.
Well, there's a reason that there's a reason what Jeremiah Smith did at Ohio State and Ryan Williams did at Alabama was so incredible as true freshmen because you don't see those guys come in and dominate. We're still going to see some, but it's going to be the elite of the elite 5-stars that do it, which is how it is in real life. DeCorian Moore at Oregon, he's an elite 5-star prospect who is an 85 overall as a true freshman, and he is a monster, and he will play in real life as a true freshman. But there are 5-star players that do not touch the field until they're a redshirt sophomore a lot of times. So, you get caught up in like it's. I just again want to set expectations that your roster has to develop before you can play some of these guys, or else you will be trotting out 84 speed corners to guard, brackets 95 speed receiver, and that's not going to be fun for you. Um, so it'll also make the upsets cooler though. If you do pull off an upset as a smaller school against one of these big dogs, it is it'll be a cool feeling because it is they really made the gap between 5-star programs, 4-star programs, and then everybody else huge this year. Whether it's recruiting grades, whether I'm a Big 12 team, I'm a Power 5 football team, and the gap between my team and like that 4-star tier is pretty fucking big. Which I don't think I was expecting. I'm excited about it because it's a bigger challenge than last year. Last year did get a little boring, where this one now, I'm not going to know who's on my roster for the following season. I don't know how you're even going to plan. You're going to feel like one of these real life football coaches or ADs where all of a sudden your star quarterback, some Miami booster gets a
It's
hold
like,
of him.
nah, bro.
Yeah, and he's out of there. So, and it's the same thing with the recruits. They made the gap between 5-star recruits and 4 stars and 3 stars huge. Like, like I said, you could get by with a roster of 3 stars last year because they had some decent speed or were decent at certain things or had, a silver ability here and there. 3 stars barely have any abilities. Even the 4 stars, a lot of them don't have abilities out of the box. If they do, they get like one bronze one, and you're going to have to hope they develop. So that's where that dev trade is going to play a big role this time, because the dev trade seems to really matter. Which last cycle it was broken and it was just completely random, but this time, making sure you get those elite dev, those impact dev, those star dev players, and those are the ones
Well,
you're going to want. So go ahead, man.
last night when we were doing, and my normal guy got 7 points, and my star guy got 65.
Yeah, it just the
Yeah,
the
it's a
difference
huge
is
difference.
crazy. Yeah.
People need to pay attention.
And
Like
then
crazy.
again, this time around, I was looking like the normal 3 stars, the normal dev 3 stars. Last cycle didn't have as many caps. This cycle they are so capped, where like maybe the fastest they can get is 88 speed or 90 speed. Where last time you got to see guys develop, you could truly develop a roster last year at a smaller school. This year, it's going to be tough. So like again, but they're designing it. The goal in a single player dynasty would probably be to start at a small school, get to a big school, and kind of ride it out at the big school. So you just have to understand where you're at, what your team is like, what your school grades are like. Find out what you can improve. Like, is it going to be is UCF going to be a spot that I will feel good at staying the entire cycle and getting enough grades high enough where I can keep my players? I don't know yet, but it makes the coaching carousel, which actually works this cycle, very fun. Because I think we'll see a lot of people jumping around, going to different schools, and I think that's the most fun part of it all. And some guys are going to get fired. Like they seem so far, it seems like you get fired pretty quickly compared to the last game. Like Riot, I don't know if Riot would have made it through season 1 at Georgia, if it would have been this game. So again, you got to know, for the guys who took top tier programs and maybe aren't top tier users, when you see that goal is win a college football playoff game, win a national championship. Like if you come out and win 4 games, you might be gone, bro. Like there's something you gotta, maybe you're like, wow, I'd be way better off at FIU. Like maybe I need to hop down there and see what happens. So I just really
Shots
wanted
fired.
I just really wanted to, set the scene for what we're expecting. I've simmed a bunch to try to see, how and it all comes out the same. It's going to be fun, but it's going to be a lot of movement for players, for coaches. Um, the fun is going to be there. You will have players who do stick around, but you got to find those players and make sure they're, good fits for your current situation. So that's where it comes in. Yeah, you might have 5 stars interested in you, but it might not be the right 5 stars, and you might, maybe you drop those 5 stars and go to 4 stars. So being selective, if you have the ability to, being selective in your recruiting, because guys do transfer right after their freshman year. If they're not happy with it, they're gone, and so you won't even get to play with that player some of these times. So, anything you guys want to add on any of that?
Nope.
Or any other thoughts you want to touch on for some of this stuff?
I have a little list, but I'll let someone else speak first.
Ooh, a list. JMO came prepared. Anyone want to speak first before? Oh, dang. Boone's quarterback is sick, dude.
That's why I said, oh,
throw
shit.
power, 81 speed, 90 excel. He needs to go to UCF, bro.
Was he a 3-star?
A 3-star dual threat. That boy is a dog. And his name is KJ Fox. That's a sick name.
How do you get a freaking insta commit first season with a quarter? What? Fucking horse.
Western Kentucky, dude. The fucking Hilltoppers are fucking back. Will look great in the portal, says Drew. Probably will. JMO, let's hear some of your lists because no one else has anything.
Yeah. Well, so I'm pretty limited, so I don't want to say that anything I haven't tested. I've tested a couple things, and I feel really good about, but this isn't one of them. But it looks like sometimes the dev trait, like last year, the dev trait didn't do anything for XP, but it did do stuff for the caps. Like most of the
Yes.
time, if they were elite, the caps are good. And it looks like that's not the case here, where like they could be high dev, but the caps could still be shot.
Yeah.
So they'll just get to their caps quick, which I found like interesting and different than last year. Just a ease of use. I did notice that if you were in the red shirt page and you click into a guy and back out, you're not at your main roster, so it's easier to redshirt people. I found that pretty cool.
Oh, nice. Yeah, quality of life improvement.
Um, yeah. This was on the for the wear and tear sliders. I read online that like if you're missing hit sticks, like it actually hurts your player doing the hit
Yeah.
stick. I don't know if that's true or not.
I think they put more effort into the tackle. I believe that. I'll have to go try that out.
Yeah,
I miss enough hit sticks, so I'll tell you pretty quickly.
yeah, I'll find out real quick.
Yep.
Um, oh, the last thing I had was is UCF a spot to stay with Sockgate
No.
confirmed by the dev? And how
Yeah.
cool is it? You got to respond so quick when you
Dude,
said you were going to message him
every
every day, and
day.
you hit
Yeah.
go like day one.
Day one tweet he responded basically just ripping my heart out, saying it's not a thing and you can't even choose your own socks or something.
Wait, did
And
you
then
try doing double socks? Like if you wore the compression socks and regular socks?
yeah, dude, they're always white socks. It
But does
keeps
he
like
still have compression and then the white over top?
whatever he said was not true because a guy came in as it might have been Western Kentucky or North Carolina, and he was like, "Bro, I set my shit to red, and the compressions are still white. So like what you just said isn't even true." And then all the UCF fans got on board and started bashing him, going like, "UCF only wears black socks with their black jerseys." Like what the like? I was like, "Oh shit, here we go." And then one guy was
We
like,
started a real problem.
yeah, one guy just responds like, "Hey, bitch, I want single leg sleeves. What the fuck?" Like it was like there
Oh
was
yeah,
just yeah, people were getting fired up, and I was like, "Oh boy, he's gonna
single A,
block."
dude.
Yeah,
They hate him.
he's gonna block.
Everybody hates.
Yeah, that's why I was trying
Wait,
to
did
be.
you try
Yeah,
wearing compression socks and regular socks over top though? Does that work?
it's this it, they had their compressions, but the socks go over the compressions.
Is it the same color?
Not all, no. Sometimes they're black, sometimes they're white, but it's not controlled by the sock color.
Oh, I think that's sort of cool though.
No, because they're
All
still
right.
white fucking
Yeah,
socks.
it'll be white over black, you know?
Yeah, but I'm wearing an all black
It's all right.
jersey. It kills me.
I sent my old school to UCF, my alumni school, so I'll probably just be there next year when you
Perfect.
leave. I'll just go back.
Unless I just go off in the portal and get like a bunch of studs, I won't even make it to the portal. Never mind. Yeah, I'm gone. If as long I just need decent uniforms, and I'm gonna go test those teams' uniforms before I pick them. But I will be I will be gone from UCF after season one. I think.
All right, I'll go back. It's fine. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we can just swap. I'll go to Michigan and watch Bryce leave. Um,
Yo, his caps suck. Like
dude,
he's gonna
yeah,
go up.
he's
He goes up like
he's
nothing. Like they're all. He has like 4 points in everything. He's
yeah.
gonna be shit. So
Which is crazy because he was the number one quarterback in the country. Let's pull him up real quick. Let me go back to the.
yeah, he was better in the test one I did, which
Yeah.
I also didn't need to do the whole playoff thing. It was 10 games. I'm like, well, I'm a 9 game guy, but okay. And then we did this one. I'm like, all right, well, playoffs that sucks.
Yeah, look,
And then
look
I
at
look
that.
at him and I'm like, yo, this is awful.
His
Like he got nerfed
accuracy,
in half.
he can only get 2 points of accuracy. His throw power is obviously fine because he's already 96. Like his awareness can only get to like 75 overall at max, which I guess is good because he'll never hit too high of a rating. But like for a 5-star plus, he is pretty capped, which is crazy.
Tough. Yeah, tough work.
But especially because he was a elite 5-star prospect. But the other thing I want to talk about, the only major issue in the game right now that can harm us, if you try to, and you have something on Discord here, I'll pull up. If you, how we get to this? If you try to change players, like a player's position, they all of a sudden develop a shit ton more player caps.
Yeah, athletes.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, so athletes, we'll talk about that too. But let me do a screen share. Wasn't prepared for this. Window capture.
And while we wait for this, I believe that if you leave athletes and let them auto assign, they don't get hit, right?
They do not. No, they
It's just
keep.
if you
They
try to
yeah.
change them.
Yes, correct. If you manually change them, they get screwed. Um, Come on, Nick. Window capture.
Yay, while you're doing that, is there any way to turn off these notifications for the song when it changes? I have it
Yeah,
muted, but I still get the
right
It's
notifications.
brutal,
over the
dude.
right over the deal breaker.
Yeah. I assume you can't turn them off?
No, I don't
I
think
would just
so.
turn the music off.
Yeah,
You got to turn the music off.
Oh, for sure.
it's pretty brutal. That's what I wanted. Okay, let's do. What the fuck? It won't save for me. Sorry, guys. Hold on.
Seth, while we wait for this, are we playing season 2? It might be our only chance as rivals.
Do you think I'll make it to season 2?
Well, I mean, it's a challenge for both of us, so I don't know. It might be our only chance.
It might be, dude, unless we meet up in the fucking Mac or something.
All right, so for instance, this guy here, Deshaun Stewart, he's a strong safety. You can kind of see his caps. Like he can improve like 8 different boxes in zone coverage. You see the little, the ones that aren't grayed out. If in position changes in the offseason, if you changed him from strong safety to free safety, so right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He can upgrade 11 in zone coverage right now. Once you change him, if you go in now, look, he can only go up 4 boxes in zone coverage. So it's broken right now. Where if and look at all the other stuff, man coverage completely blacked out, run support completely blacked out, like can't upgrade at all of them. So any position change, even similar positions, whether it's outside linebacker, left outside linebacker, right outside linebacker, defensive end to defensive tackle, any position change you do is going to just basically block your guy from developing at all, and that sucks. And it also will affect our athletes. So if we get to our off season before they fix this, which I'm going to guess we will, athletes you'll have to just leave and let the computer assign them to the position they're supposed to go to, so you don't get hit with this kind of like blocked out capping situation. But I mean the difference. Look at man coverage here. He has fucking 9 as well, and now he has none. Like this guy he'll stay at 7. The highest he'll get is like a 73 at his new position, where he looks like he can get to like a 90 at his current one. So
Career killer.
yeah, so it's something that do not change positions. I don't even think you can change positions for NIL players anyways, until that first position change screen. And I'll post all this in for the guys who didn't hear it, and I'll post this on YouTube so everyone can see it too. But I just want to make that aware. That's like the one major glitch we are kind of waiting on them to fix, but it shouldn't affect us. We probably will get there fast enough, but I'm hoping that they get this one figured out, because it's supposed to do it. If you change a receiver to corner, he'll get a bunch of caps because he's not a corner, But if you change not in our league, but a receiver to tight end where they're kind of similar, they shouldn't get capped that much. The caps are going to happen, but it shouldn't happen like this, especially positions that are so similar. So for right now,
Left edge to right edge,
yeah,
like come
dude, just
on.
ruined. So if you if you want to change positions, don't change the position, just move the guy there on the roster. You still have to get it approved that, this
Yeah.
guy can play there,
Yep.
but for now, don't change any positions of players, because it will ruin your player. And there's no fixing that. So that's just something that I wanted to bring up. That's the one thing for us dynasty guys that could be a big problem right now. So we'll see. But it's gonna be, like even this guy too. If I go back to this, This guy went from right tackle to left tackle, and he's look at that. He's decent. He has 35 skill caps. You go to the next one, and he has 65 skill caps. So just humongous changes where you just ruin a guy's potential. He won't develop at all, and you'll probably have to just cut him anyway. So keep your mind on that. So, and that goes for position. What makes sense to you, where you should be able to change corners to safety and safety to corner and stuff like that, which we'll just brick it out. So, anything else we need
Please
to
tell
touch
us.
on? Yeah, go ahead.
I am begging you. If you have questions, do
Yeah.
not try to figure it out. Ask.
Yeah, someone will be like, no, don't fucking do
Don't
it.
be the first person. Don't be
Yeah.
the first person to come tell Nick that you fucked up your star player because
Yeah,
not doing shit for you.
and don't
You didn't follow
listen.
directions.
If you post in chat and Brian or Van respond, don't listen to them because they're gatekeeping all secrets from everybody. Brian, every time I say something in main chat, Brian messages me and says, "Shh, don't tell people that." I'm like, dude, I'm telling people everything. That's what part of my job here, my non-paid job. So, make sure
I don't get.
you look at who you're listening to.
Keep busy. That's it.
Yeah. But I'm excited. I do think it's going to be a very different cycle, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And obviously, when you play 15 seasons of anything, it's going to be. I think the roster movement and the player movement is going to be a lot of fun. I just think you have to figure out what spot you're going to have the most fun at. Van's. We know Van. Van likes being the big school, getting the good players. This is a nightmare for Van. Like this is. Not only is his roster not as good, but now all of a sudden he's not even going to get 90 speed receivers. So if Van has to make a decision, is this something I want to deal with all cycle, or do I want to make the jump to a bigger school? So
I wanted to just say that I am firing up another Madden League just in case. I'll also be sending out the invites.
yeah, I didn't even buy Madden. But yeah, so that's I think it's gonna be fun. I think we're gonna be in a really good spot. I just wanted to really kind of set the stage for everybody to understand what is about to happen. Because if you haven't simmed a season, that first portal is going to shock you. And there Arch Manning jumps in the portal in some of these. Like I said, Bryce Underwood. There's some quarterbacks that jump in the portal. It's like NFL free agency. Everybody throws their name in the portal. Everybody moves teams. Nobody's really safe. So just keep that in mind as you're building up your roster and trying to have fun this cycle. So. You guys are good. Anything else? That's all I got really.
The only thing I did. I've only tried to actually recruit for one season. I simmed one season to see what would happen. I did a recruiting season as Miami, thinking it would be easy mode, and only sort of half-assed it. But it's tough this year. It is tough this year. So they gave us a hard mode. I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited for this year.
Biggest thing, the way they arrange coaching trees, and then obviously having the CPU Georgia coach at a 66 overall or a 66 level, he has things unlocked that we most of us won't ever unlock. So I'm hoping that helps the CPU recruit a little bit better, which again will be tough, but it's kind of what we've been looking for. I want CPU Georgia to pull players. I want CPU South Carolina to go get players. It'll really, really hurt. And, even in my offline, I've been in battles where I'm UCF and I'm like, oh, cool. I'm just computer guys. I'm going to go get whoever I want. And they commit to, whoever. So it's going to be tricky. And if you're not at a Power 5 school or an elite Power 5 school, you're going to have or a school with good recruiting grades. You're going to have times where you might be the only user on a player, but that doesn't guarantee that player is going to your school at all. You see the jumps that some of these CPU teams make, and then your bar moves like a sliver, and you're like, oh shit, I'm not going to get this guy like I thought I was. So the best thing you can keep doing is winning games. Keep winning games at small schools and mid-tier schools, and do your best to. Because it's like UCF, I think I'm a 3. Am I a 3-star, 3.5, 3-star? And it is tough out there. So if it's tough for me, I can only imagine, the Fresno, the Delaware, the ECU.
They nerf the recruiting tree, so it's not as easy to get the recruiting bonus.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to make it tougher because now the 65 Georgia guy is going to have it, but
oh yeah,
only like 4 guys in our league ever will, and
Yeah.
it's going to take a lot of work to get there. So I think
Yep.
that's going to make it really fun in the beginning for a
Yeah,
Yeah.
while.
if you have the the LSU's, the Oregons, the Ohio States, you probably don't have to listen to a lot of what we're saying because it's going to be very similar to last cycle for you. Um, but if you, I mean, even like if you like USC and UCLA, those schools are set up with really good recruiting grades where they can be built into those 5-star schools. Um, some of us, some of us can't. Like some of us thought, like I thought I'd be able to build UCF into a powerhouse, and that might not be the case. So we're gonna have to, there's limits out
UCF
there.
caps at 4, buddy. I could have told you that.
I went to 4 after one season with UCF, bro. We're good.
Uh,
We're good. But that's the other thing. Like there's only 5 5-star schools and only 5 4.5-star schools. So that gap of like to get to a 4.5 is even harder this cycle than last cycle. They made it so only a certain amount can be each grade. So I'm very excited to see how that works. But it did look like if you were at Ohio State and struggled, like Ohio State loses a star pretty quickly, and the whoever else, like the school that's having the success that's already a 4-star can jump up pretty quick. So you're going to see a lot. The LSU's, the Miami's, the Oregon's. Again, those teams won't be affected that much by it because you're still gonna, you'll have a leg up on everyone else, but it's still there's a whole different game for them inside of it where you're trying to keep players on your roster and avoid losing, big time players. So everyone's gonna get hit with something. You just got to get to a situation where you'll have the most fun. So no knock on anybody switching teams, no knock on anybody who gets fired. It's all new stuff that we didn't really expect. We were hoping for, but I think EA did a pretty good job delivering on a lot of this. So I'm excited to kind of see how the Campus Legends landscape unfolds here. So and again, I think also just like last year we were pretty loose on letting people join conferences. You're going to have to prove, we're not just going to let UConn jump up to the Big Ten because they had 2 9-win seasons. Like it's for your own good at that point where we don't want to put you in a situation where you are just doomed. So, you're going to have to kind of build that program up maybe over the course of 4 or 5 seasons before you get a chance to jump to a different conference. So, just
nah,
again,
bring that birthday boy up to the
yeah.
Big Ten.
John Ball wasn't built for it, bro. He wasn't built for it last cycle with Georgia. He's not built for it this cycle with UConn. Um, but yeah, it's cool. I think obviously, if we would have done the team draft right now, I think you would see a lot of people go with the weenie schools.
32 weenies.
Yeah, I think there's not even
I don't care
32.
what anybody says.
Yeah,
Knowing what you know.
yeah. There's a pretty good chance that
Ask me about
is
my
what would have
wiener.
happened. But yeah, so I think knowing what we know now, and like it could be very different. So I think you are where you are, and now you gotta. If you started at the Delaware, you started at Western Kentucky, you're gonna have to build your way up if you want to get to a small school or a bigger school. So the best thing you do is win games, and you're just hoping you have some 87 speed players that can help do that for you. So, um, but yeah, just last cycle you saw a shit ton of 99 speed receivers. This cycle, I think the fastest recruit I've seen has been like 94 speed. So it's going to be, you'll see a lot of guys get, maybe get to 97, but they're starting at 94. You're not going to see a lot of guys start at 90 and get to 99, which we saw a lot of last cycle. So just trying to keep everyone's expectations in check. If you have any questions on anything we talked about or suggestions, feel free to shoot me a message and I'll bring it up to the committee and we can go from there. But I think we're pretty locked and loaded for season 1. I'll obviously put out a little like a form where you could submit things for season 2. If I just hope everyone comes from a league first perspective on that because it's not really about your situation; it's about everyone in the league. So when you're thinking about a solution or something to change, make sure you think about it or test it from a 5-star perspective all the way down to like a 1-star perspective. So it's not just something like, oh, this would help me out because this is a league for 32 users, not just for your own situation. So, but please voice concerns. Suggestions are always welcome. You can bring them up to a committee member, Van, J-Mo, John, and Busy if you want to go that route, and then they can fight the battle for you. You can come right to me, and I'll post it in there as well. So we'll figure it out. So Appreciate you guys for hopping on with me. I appreciate I think we had like 12-ish viewers, which, for a Saturday night at 11 o'clock, I will take every day of the week. So,
Oh no, you're starting to Mickey Mouse.
starting to get blurry.
No, your internet, you're cutting out.
Uh-oh.
Been happening for the last
Let's
2
see.
minutes.
I was
Good.
gonna hit him up after this and tell him that maybe he shouldn't get
I do.
Extreme Network.
I gotta upgrade my shit again, which I just downgraded. So, well, cool. We'll go ahead and end it here. I will get this posted to YouTube, and we're here to answer any questions anyone has. So, thanks guys for hopping on. Thanks guys for listening. I'm excited for a fresh cycle. We are kicking off tomorrow at 8 p.m. Let's get into it, fellas. I will see you on the other side. We are out.
See ya.